The no-nonsense, few-frills family hatchback has taken something of a backseat in recent times as growing numbers of buyers have latched onto the SUV scene. But competition in this core area of the car market remains hot nonetheless, and while Nissan have successfully thrown substantial resource behind crossovers like the Qashqai and Juke, they haven't abandoned the humble hatch. One way of stealing a march on rivals is by offering better interior space, something the Japanese brand achieved with room to spare in the Pulsar. This model blasts the opposition into orbit when it comes to room in the cabin. The looks may be deceptive and numbers like 692mm of rear knee room may be meaningless to most, but what it equates to is the sort of accommodation you would expect from much larger vehicles. Significantly, there's a huge amount of rear legroom plus comfortable center rear seating position, while stowage comprises a cup holders in all 4-door bins, a central container, glove box and ottomans container in front of a gear stick. Again, with families in mind, the boot is deep and wide enough to shift 4 full-size cases, and that's before you fold the rear seats down. As for styling in the cabin, you'll find a sweeping dash and fascia with carbon inserts and piano black inlays, while the steering wheel features the now fairly standard multi-function buttons and stalks to make driving easier. Beneath the bonnet is an all-turbocharged engine range including a 1.2-liter Dicty petrol unit with an output of 115 picoseconds, a 1.5-liter DCI diesel generating 110 picoseconds and the tested 190 picoseconds 1.6-liter turbocharged petrol engine. Petrol engine models kick off the range at 13,275 pounds for a Vizia limited edition 1.2-liter variant, while diesels start at 16,435 pounds, though for high-mileage drivers and fleet operators there is the attraction of 78.5 mpg economy. The high-powered petrol version is a spirited car to drive, as the performance figures 0-62 mph in 7.7 seconds, top speed 135 mph, bear out and the driving experience is certainly comfortable and well balanced. Safety and technology will continue to play a leading role in the Pulsar's attraction, the likes of a round view monitor, forward emergency braking, moving object detection, lane departure warning and blind spot warning all standard on Tekna trim. In fact, the Pulsar offers the latter trio as standard on other models. It also features a Nissan Connect 5.8 and touchscreen navigation and entertainment system with features such as smartphone integration and access to apps. You also get LED headlamps, heated front seats, 18-in alloys, a black honeycomb front grille and rear privacy glass. It all adds up to a genuine family car, one capable of luring both everyday motorists and company car drivers. It has been almost 8 years since Nissan's 370Z Coupe replaced the 350Z, and now there's a new model here, the Nismo version. Nismo, the motorsport division of Nissan, hasn't had an official presence here before, despite the sub-brand existing since 1984. Now it has, with more Nismo models expected here in the future. While the 370Z Nismo hasn't received quite the attention that the fire-breathing GTR variant has had lavished upon it, the enhancements are broadly similar, including the carbonized body kit, lightweight wheels, extra rubber, mildly enhanced engine and brake performance, stiffened suspension and fortified interior. Naturally, it's nothing like as expensive, given it is based on the 370Z Coupe, selling for an estimated $72,000 price TBC, instead of $60,000 for the regular 370Z Coupe in manual format. There will be no automatic version of the Nismo 370Z, which is entirely appropriate for various reasons. The manual is just delicious in use, and comes with a switchable atop function, Synchro Rev Match, that Nissan thoughtfully developed for the 370. Unlike the GTR Nismo which first showed its face in 2015, the Nismo 370Z has been around for some time, and this latest model is effectively the second generation. Its new body kit is more subtle, and the chassis is stiffened around the attachment points so the suspension tune has actually been relaxed some. That said, it is still stiffer in the main by about 15 to 50% over the standard 370Z in terms of springs, roll bar settings, and damping. Nismo has raised engine output slightly too, up by 13 kilowatts and 8 newton meters, to 253 kilowatts and 372 newton meters, respectively. That's partly the result of a new free-flow exhaust system that reduces back pressure by 30%. This special 370Z also comes with a Nismo engine cover, updated fascia, sills, bumpers and rear spoiler, Nismo door mirrors and superlight 19-inch rims with special road-going Potenza rubber. There are 245 14ths R19s on the front and 285 35ths R19s for the rear wheels. Brakes are uprated too, with larger rotors, 4-piston calipers up front and high-rigidity brake lines. Inside are special seats, with the base finished in red, and the wheels semi-clad in suede-like material. The Z in Nismo trim looks better than the standard car, with a small tune spoiler finished in red and black highlights, enhancing downforce. Its outline in some ways mimics that of the bigger GTR. The side window shapes are similar, but the head and taillights are a bit prissy. Still, refinement is said to have improved. Extra sound deadening in the wheel arches and thicker carpets quieten the road noise generated by its low-profile performance track shoes. There's also digital sound manipulation to reduce the low frequencies generated by tire thrum. That may be sufficient for roads built of hot mix, but doesn't come close to drowning out the clamor on our unruly roads. That said, the 370Z has always been pretty raucous and this is more of the same, only less. It's not as loud as the GTR Nismo and nor is it as shouty as the previous 370Z we drove. However, we recorded an average SPL of 78.9 decibels, with many readings in the 80s. Anything north of 75 decibels for long periods of time is bad news for the auditory apparatus, so it's an earplugs car if you value your hearing. In this class, the Nismos aren't alone, but it's one downside of owning vehicles that are designed to tour ours around the countryside, racetracks. The engine sound partway compensates, a gruff growl ever present. Performance is forthcoming too, with no real need to rev the big V6 hard. It runs like the wind from 3,500 to 5,000 RPMs. And there's nothing quite like a good gearbox to get the best from a mill either, and this is a cracker, snicking from cog to cog precisely, the clutch good and hearty. We did a couple of hard launches and there was no sting, no slip. The Nismo pretty much met its stated claim on the second run. Compared with the GTR Nismo times 2 seconds drift might seem tame, but this is one quick car on road, and I'd venture to say it would keep the bigger Nismo in sight on a twisting road, if not a track. This too is sizable, and while it's not quite as easy to enter as the GTR, it's not too bad in the sports car scheme of things. Where you can adjust the bigger Nismo's steering column in 2 different planes, its height adjust only for the 370's wheel, and seat adjustments are manual, with no lumbar variability. But for all that, the driver's pew was excellent, nearly up with the straitjacket fit of the GTRs. Your hips are locked in place, providing they're not excessive, and you wouldn't want to be too tall either, though the seat does plumb the depths rather well. It's a decent driving position made even better by bracing knees either side, the left knee pampered by an Alcantara pad. Good to go then. There's even touchpad entry, and push-button start. As soon as you're underway, there's less jostling in this compared with the stiffer Nismo GTR, and as pace rises the suspension works even better. It's all fixed, with no adaptive dampers, but it's fixed really quite well. Even over bumpy go tracks this mops up the worst of the rises, dips and sharper ruts in a style that eludes the bigger Nismo. And the steering isn't corrupted by cambers, lines or bumps either. There are any number of dynamic things that this car does extremely well, and it proves the point that slow evolution is a good means of improving the breed. In no particular order, the steers, stops and swerves with the best of them. Its hydraulic steering is a particular delight. It's such a refreshing thing for a company to stick to what works rather than swap to electric steering just because everyone else is doing so to save a small amount of fuel. So the helm in this car is just fantastic, feelsome, fast, and well weighted. No question that it is a better still overall than the Nismo GTR because you're not having to forever make little corrections to stay online. So it's easier to drive quickly. The Z seems happy to oblige, with a natural gait of around 120 km per hour, equivalent to 2750 RPMs in top where the VVT aspect of the motor is starting to make its presence felt. You need to be ever mindful of speed creep in this. In corners it feels solid, secure, well balanced and is a delight to press on in. The other highlight is braking power. During our time cold temperatures but paid to decent distances. We couldn't get great bite from the tires so a best stoppie of 35.6 m isn't really a good reflection of brake quality. They're truly decent, if not quite in the GTR's league. Given you can purchase 4 of these for the price of the Big Daddy Nismo, and it runs the GTR rather close in so many ways, it's hard not be impressed by the enhanced 370Z. Okay, it doesn't look as if it has come directly from a Need for Speed game like the GTR, but from behind the wheel the lesser Nismo is the more complete car. On the track, we'd probably find the opposite, but this is a fabulous update, and deserves to give the 370Z a new lease on life.